feel like a nerd doing this. Welcome back to the Funny Show. I am your host, Mr. Funny, and Star Wars The Last Jedi came out last night. I went and saw it last night, and as you can see, I'm dressed for the occasion. As I'm wearing like this Jedi robe, because like, hang on, I'm such a moron. And I got my lightsaber and the, yeah, there. I forgot I had those, so that's why they are now there. As all of us know, Star Wars The Last Jedi came out last night, and I went and saw it last night. I loved it. Before I start, though, I just want to say this review is not going to contain any spoilers, so if you are wanting to see the movie without any spoilers, anything being spoiled to you, then don't worry, you can watch this. You are safe with me. So don't worry, guys. It's okay. Calm down. Also, I've been wanting to do movie reviews for a long time, so yeah. I'm obviously a huge Star Wars fan, as I have a lightsaber, a Jedi robe. I have 2 Star Wars games I want to get. I'm hoping to get Battlefront 2. I know it's very, very controversial right now, but I want to try it out. I want to see if I can enjoy it, find some enjoyment out of it. So, yes, I'm excited for that. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I got Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original, and the reboot in 2015. I love almost everything Star Wars, except for the prequels. Those were not good. Just take it with a grain of salt. Now let's get one thing out of the way. This movie was very anticipating, obviously. Being the sequel to The Force Awakens. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I know it got nominated for Best Film of 2015. I don't know if it won, an Oscar for it. It might have, correct me if I'm wrong, I might have, I don't know. It made $2 billion worldwide, I'm pretty sure. And it left on a cliffhanger, so you know this movie is gonna be hyped up, and it was, and I was so excited for it. This movie is much more like the Empire Strikes Back, because, well, The Empire Strikes Back is considered the best Star Wars movie ever made, one of the best movies ever made, and is just a great movie overall. The Last Jedi does take that premise. It's not as good as The Empire Strikes Back, I'll say that. In terms of rewatching, I could see myself rewatching both of those movies at the same amount, but I think Empire Strikes Back is better than this one. So keep that in mind. This movie is really like Empire Strikes Back, because the Resistance is really, really, really low on numbers. They lose so many guys in this movie. By the end, there are barely any of them. I'm not gonna spoil anything, don't worry, but there are barely any of them in this movie, because the First Order is just too strong, and so this film is good. I do find this film, in terms of a good Star Wars movie, I like it. But there was one thing that didn't fly with me, and that they tried to add more humor in the film. I'd say 50% of the jokes worked, and the other 50% didn't. Most of the jokes that Luke said, most of them fall flat. BB-8 had a really, really good one again. I'm not gonna tell you, but he had a really good one again. He did the thumbs up last time with his little, torch thingy. This time he's got an even better one. I like this one even more, actually. But let's just say, I think the reason that this movie was so much funnier was because of, this is just me, but maybe because of Guardians of the Galaxy, because they took the space opera and the comedy and mashed it together, and it just works. I don't think those movies would be nearly as good, actually, if it didn't have the jokes. And this movie was like, oh, we need to have jokes too. So I think Rian Johnson, the director of this movie, saw Guardians and was like, oh, I gotta add jokes into Star Wars. And even then, it wasn't because of Volume 2, because they started filming over a year before Volume 2 even came out. So it wasn't because of Volume 2, it was probably because of the first one. But I still think Guardians had a pretty role in taking what made this movie. That's kind of why I think it's not as good as Empire Strikes Back. Keep in mind, half of the jokes do work. I found there were actually some really funny ones, especially again the BB-8 one. And for some reason I haven't talked about the acting, and I'm talking about the jokes before the acting. I am so good at my reviews. I'm such a professional. The acting is overall good. I'd say there's one character that I didn't like. I'll talk about that later. But pretty much every performance is awesome, okay? I was talking to the people who went to see the movie with me last night, and they were like, I didn't like Mark Hamill's performance that much. I thought he was like pushing it too hard. And there were some moments where I was like, what's he doing? Watching the movie, but overall I thought he did a good performance. I thought he had a good performance. Daisy Ridley, awesome as Rey. Finn, amazing. Poe Dameron is becoming one of my favorite Star Wars characters, because he's a relatable character. He does things that the people above him that say he can't do, but he does them anyway, and that gets him in trouble, and that gets him into problems, and that I think is relatable to pretty much everyone on Earth, because everyone does that at one point in their life. And he is probably going to be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Star Wars character one day. Because not only because of the performance, just the way he was portrayed in this movie. He was portrayed amazingly in this movie. I liked him in The Force Awakens, but this one, easily the best. Oscar Isaac, I think his name is. I'm probably wrong, but if his name's Oscar Isaac, the guy who plays Poe Dameron, you're awesome. I probably got that wrong. Carrie Fisher. Oh boy, this was the hard one for me to watch, guys, because Carrie Fisher, as we all know, passed away in 2016 in December, and she was in this movie because they finished filming before she died. But it hurt to see her on screen, because she is really. The reason I like Empire Strikes Back so much is because of her performance. Mostly her performance. It hurt me to watch her, but this was her justice for this movie. So I am really happy that she was able to stay alive long enough to be in this movie. This was her justice film, and so I think she did an amazing job. John Boyega also did great as Finn. He was amazing. I think I already said that. There was one character that I did not like, and that was Rose. And this is not because she's Asian, guys, I swear. Jason, I swear to God, if you comment down below, you hate her just because she's Asian, I will cut. Most of her scenes felt forced. Most of them, especially the last one, pretty much her last scene, it felt forced really badly. And that was something that's probably one of the things that didn't make me like, that's weird. I think J.J. Abrams is a little better than Rian Johnson, if I'm being honest. Rian Johnson is a good director. Obviously, I hear he's a good director, at least. He can make films like this, these kinds of films, and with Mickey Mouse's budget, Mickey Mouse's budget supporting him, he can make a really well movie. And that was something that I appreciated, but I do think J.J. Abrams did a better story. And so I don't know if I think someone told me J.J. Abrams was coming to direct the 9th one, but I don't know. I probably am wrong about that. But I think someone told me he's going to direct the 9th, J.J. Abrams. I'm hoping he does, because I don't know. I just want him to. But Ryan Johnson, you did a good job with this film. Let's talk about the action, because this movie had some of the best action scenes in a Star Wars movie ever. And I know people, my sister complains all the time, why would you want to watch an old movie? They look so ugly. And I'm like, shut up. Shut up. The old Star Wars movies, they have great action scenes, especially the one with Luke and Vader in Empire Strikes Back. That is an amazing action scene with lightsabers. That's an amazing lightsaber scene. There are, I guess you could say there are two. You'll see what I mean when I say there's two. Because, I don't think, it kind of doesn't count as two. So there is one lightsaber scene. One kind of lightsaber scene. And then there is a scene like lightsabers, just not with lightsabers. It's the scene in the trailers, Captain Phasma and Finn, though, that one. That's not spoiling the movie because it was in the trailers, so don't worry. The lightsaber fights were amazing. Luke in this movie was awesome. Seriously, I'm not talking about the performance. I'm talking about his character and some of the scenes he was in. He was awesome. Seriously, I loved Luke in this movie. I really did like Luke in this movie. I thought he did an amazing job. In Force Awakens and Rogue One, the final battles are actually really, really beautiful. The settings and the way they're choreographed and all of that are really, really gorgeous, actually. In The Force Awakens, it was the forest scene where they're fighting in the snow. On Rogue One, they were fighting on the beaches at Scarif. This time, they're fighting on this salt planet. And, when they step on the salt, it turns into this red dust thing. I thought that was really cool. It looked gorgeous. Seriously, when they were attacking, it was gorgeous. Seriously, it looked really good. And that's really all I'm going to say. The final battle is gorgeous, so look forward to that. On the other hand, you may be thinking, final battle, there were 2 times in this movie where I thought it was going to end. I'm being serious. I thought there was 2 moments where I was like, wait, this hasn't happened. The stuff I saw in the trailers hasn't happened yet. Wait, why is this? Why is that going on? This is actually a long movie, in my opinion. It's 2.5 hours long. So, if you're a fan of Star Wars and you don't mind lengths in movies, then you're gonna like this movie. You're gonna love it, actually. There was one character that I thought was dumb. Let me just say that. Her death scene. This sounds mean, but I kind of thought she deserved to die because she was rude. But she went out in a cool way. I'll just say it was cool. And loud. It was loud. You'll see what I mean. But the action scenes, again, they were amazing. Acting, awesome. The choreograph is amazing. Especially Luke. Mark Hamill is pretty old. And so what they did, I don't know if it was a stunt double or not, but they did some pretty good stuff. It was probably a stunt double, but they had some pretty good stuff. And so, BB-8 actually did get a lot of more memorable moments. From the trailers, it didn't look like he was going to have as many memorable moments and that he wasn't going to play a huge part in the movie. But he did. He did, and he had some really fun moments. And I'm actually happy because I really wanted him to be that awesome character again. Character, he's a robot, but overall, I think this movie was really, really fun. This is definitely, if you're a Star Wars fan, go out and see it as soon as possible. If you can't see it out as soon as possible, that's probably because the tickets were sold out. But overall, I'm going to give Star Wars The Last Jedi an A. This was really my first time making movie reviews, so I'm sorry if I was really terrible at this. But if you guys want to see more movie reviews, I'd really like to, actually. I kind of want to see Greatest Showman. I want to review that. That would be fun. And And Avengers Infinity War is coming up, so I might review some Marvel movies leading up to that. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, comment, wear your seatbelt.